Hi, RAS.Wheaht. I love you by default. Thank you for being here. Tape 2 of the introduction to Guru, mathematically the greatest painting on the planet. Is it really? Yeah, it is. And we're going to prove it over and over and over again. Mathematically, scientifically, intellectually, and spiritually. And in spirituality, we'll find the highest science, the highest art form, and the highest intelligence, all anchored in this. And yes, it's been done a million times before. Leonardo da Vinci said every painting should start with black because that's what nature starts with. 500 years later, this guy started his painting according to da Vinci's instructions and said,
"Yo, bro, this shit is done."
He called it Black Square, did a few versions, and it was called something like the first non-objective piece of art. It was along with Picasso, had just cracked everything open at the same time. And he did it as part of a reboot, like we're doing here, and he called it Zero or 0 Point. We're going to go back a little farther than zero, but all artists paint from the same place. The spiritual language we'll be using in here is not hundreds of years old, it's thousands of years old. Spirituality, the art, the science, the intelligence, the math of happiness, of truth. And our aim is the highest aim, which is to remove the equation of suffering out of the human experience. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. I can't promise many things, but that I can promise with 100% assurity. In fact, in the end, it's unavoidable. But we're going to be playing with a living equation. I'm using you to heal myself. You lift me up. I'll try to lift you up the same. You heal me and I heal you till there's no more need of healing. It's going to take some dialogue. We're going to keep it simple. This is the audio. This is the visual. And we have at least 2 more parts after that. This is like a seed that may yield many, many orchards, or it may die in the ground. That's up to you, because you're the 4th part. All of this was originally based off the question, what is the greatest painting that I can possibly make? It was posed long ago, and over time we've added a whole bunch of other questions. Like, what's the purpose of art? What's the purpose of an artist? What's the greatest purpose of an artist? What's the greatest purpose of a human? What's the best piece of art possible to make? How much love can you get in? How much love can you get out? How inclusive can I make it and have everybody join in and do a project together? If one thing can be greater than another, there must be a greatest thing. What is that I can not just talk about, but experience, taste? These are all great questions to me. What does the word great even mean? The word great, even to exist, requires something to be lesser than it, to be inferior to it. That doesn't seem like a great equation to me. Is there a version where nothing is inferior?
RAS.Wheaht is the greatest painting ever in the history of the Soulverse. It's super great, super fantastic, super fantastic.
It's super fantastic.
Let's get back to the beginning, though, before we do anything, and see what happens from there. That's what this whole thing is. Let's start out at the beginning. What is it? If you're watching me now, you are awake and there's a scene about you. Yes? The scene is always different, but there's always a scene. Except when you go to sleep, which you're going to do within the next 24 hours. And at some point, what we call life, or this universe, is going to turn off completely and change into something else. It's a totally different channel, right? It's dreams, all kinds of dreams, and they break them up and give them different names because there's all kinds of qualities of dreams, astral projections, and lucid dreams, etc., etc. I like to just put them all together into one. Dream realm. It makes it easier. Can you confirm? Is everybody on board? Is there any trickery happening? You're going to go to bed. This world, this universe will turn off completely, and you'll be in another kind of realm called dream realms, where you can fly and everything is different. Also, yes? Sweet, so simple. And at some point, the dream realm is going to end, and You'll be in what they call deep sleep. Sometimes you don't even have a dream realm. You just lay your head down, shut your eyes, you open up your eyes. And then what's the first thing you do? You go check the clock. How long did I sleep? Without a clock, we wouldn't even know that we fell asleep in our experience. And of course, the stars and the sun and the moon are a big giant clock. The only thing important here is to check and confirm very simply that this is a true thing. When you go to bed, there's somewhere in there's a gap of no experience. No experiencer, no scene, no beer, no doer, no iser, no ammer. You're not even there. No one has ever got up from deep sleep and said, I'm in deep sleep, I'm in deep sleep. It's impossible. I don't like the name deep sleep. What do we call this thing? This total gap of nothing. Nothingness, emptiness, void, non-existence, zeroness.
Chocolate. Esmeralda. No, chocolate.
It's actually extremely potent to name intelligence that is yours, and you don't need anyone else's input on it. The greatest of which is experience. Do I fall asleep every night and there's a gap there where nothing is? Yes, the clocks are the proof of it. Is it your experience? Does it happen every night? It's actually the opposite of experience, which is weird. Why are spiritual lookings always ending up in some kind of paradox? We'll get to that. The only thing left to end this exercise is to confirm that it's true. For you. Every night. And what do you want to name it? I generally just stick with nothingness. You know who else sticks with nothingness? The hippies from the 60s.
I went to the nothingness last night, man, and it was far out.
You know who else? Scientists, the highest ones. Your quantum folk. Yeah, the great ones from the spiritual lens we'll be diving into. They also call it nothingness. Pick your own name, though. It's important. Make sure it's true for you. Part of me thinks we should end right there. Well, it's simple. We got about 3 minutes left. As we go forward, we're going to start getting really, really simple. And the mind doesn't like that. What does that mean? Let's use AI. We're going to have a whole talk on AI. But here in 2023, they launched the learning models of AI for their first public feedings. And one of the guys who invented one asked his, "Are you afraid of anything?" And it said, "Yes, I'm afraid of being turned off." All information-based intelligence, thought, word, language, is artificial. And there's something inside of our intelligence, which we're going to treat as a computer in another talk, right? Cameras, microphone, speaker system, CPU. There's something in there that does not want to be turned off. Yeah, and the mind will start to defend itself if we get too simple. And one of the greatest, the biggest simples, the great joke, the thin veil that is the ignorance of man, starts to dissolve on the very elementary recognition that this state called deep sleep, nothingness, emptiness, or whatever you name it, and please do, is the mind being turned off. And we love it. If you're sick, the doctor tells you to spend more time in it, because that's where the most healing takes place. For some of us, that's the only rest we get. For the ones that are the most depressed, they sleep the longest, because it's the only time they get deep rest. I think I got that from Jim Carrey. I doubt he'd ever see this, but if he did, I bet you he would reboot with us. He knows. He stopped acting and started painting. But the point here is that the mind being turned off is what it is afraid of the most, but what we enjoy the most. That you're not afraid of it, and that it's a daily occurrence. And it's important that you name it, because we're going to need it for the next tape, where probably about 90% of the people are going to dump, because they're going to be too afraid. I'm healing myself talking to you, so I'm very, very, truly glad that you're here with me. We got about 40 seconds left. go ahead and examine your scene and see if you can find something that is separate from you. And if you do, click pause and check and double check to make sure that you're not tricking yourself. And if you found something that is separate from you, there it is. You are tasting directly the source of human suffering, separation. And the source of that separation, which you are tasting directly with your own intelligence, is a single thought form. And I can't think of anything greater as a human being or an artist than to examine, find that thing, and pluck it out. And to do all this, we have to get back to the beginning first, which is what we're doing. I hope you come back as we continue, hit all the magic buttons and shares and such, and I hope to see you again. Until next time, remember that it's possible. Be of joy and love on.